I was queen of drugs at one time. I could take twice as much as the next guy and still walk and talk. I was a very respected druggie. But as I got older I decided it was time to quit and focus on school. But there was one drug left that I had never tried, and had always wanted to. 2 years after I had quit all drugs I was playing pool and flirting with two very cute guys whom I had never met before. Me and John got along great, but these were still just strangers I had met that day. When they mentioned they were picking up E that night I jumped at the chance to try it. They informed me that it was white Mitsubishi they were getting. We went to a bar that I had never been to before, and didn't know anyone there, but they knew almost everyone. We dosed around 11 p.m. While waiting for it to hit me, I had 3 rum and cokes to help me socialize. Bad idea. I later learned never to drink with E at 11:30. I felt the most powerful feeling, induced by drugs, of my whole life hit me like someone punched me in the face. I was literally knocked on my ass. I had to sit down on the picnic tables they had lined up around the dance floor. John saw that I was completely mesmerized by people trying to talk to me. I was trying to understand what they were saying but all I heard were notes and murmurs. Their voices faded in and out. John came and sat in front of me, saying, "Isn't this nice? Lauren, do you want me to touch you?" I just smiled and nodded yes. Then the second guy sat behind me and started rubbing my back. Every touch felt like a million little orgasms running through my body. I felt that I didn't want to be in public with these guys touching me. I must have said I want to leave, even though I don't remember talking. I was having trouble walking, stumbling like being drunk, so John grabbed my arm and the other guy walked behind me. As we were leaving everything and everyone looked like they were made of tiny pixel squares. Like they were all pictures on a computer screen blown up too big. I think it was just the eye twitching that can tend to happen. As soon as I stepped outside the cold winter air hit me, and I had never felt cold like that before. The walk to the car seemed to take forever. John kept saying reassuring things about how we'll be in the car soon. "I'll keep you warm, don't worry." In the car I asked how the guy could drive if he was as messed up as I was. He said he was practically sober, only a little high, but nothing like I was feeling. Probably because he had done it many times before. When we got to John's, around 12:15, my peak had gotten even a little more intense if possible. We went into his basement where he had a futon. At this point I can only remember bits and pieces of the rest of my night. John opened the futon for me to lie down on, and that's what I did. I remember him asking if he could kiss me. My jaw kind of hurt, but I said yes. His lips felt like marshmallows without the taste. They seemed to cover my whole mouth, making it as sensitive as my clit. It felt so good, and I wanted to tell him that but I could no longer talk. He kept bringing me water, and forcing me to take sips. Then, for a long while after that, I blacked out, and the next thing I remember is having him on top of me, having sex. I had lost a lot of feeling in my whole body for some reason, so it felt good, but only the parts that I could feel. I remember thinking this is wrong. I just met this guy. Why aren't I shouting, "No"? But I found no answer to my question and let him continue pleasuring me, orally too. I could hear him having a conversation his friend who was seated on the couch behind my head, but their words were still just murmurs. Then John said to me, "Are you sure my friend can join? You're not going to get mad tomorrow?" He later told me to every question he would ask I would just stare at him, then murmur something that had no relevance to his question. I remember John saying my name off in the distance, and asking if it still feels good. "Isn't this amazing?" he would say. His words and the feeling of his body would drift so far away, I couldn't hear or feel him, then they would come back. About 3 a.m., his friend was standing over me, asking if I was coming down yet. I said yes, even though I was still in that euphoric state and couldn't distinguish objects clearly. He put another pill in my mouth and fed me water to wash it down. I spilled water down my naked chest and started to complain how cold I was, so he put the blanket over me and was rubbing me to try to warm me up. I don't know exactly where John was. He could have still been on top of me for all I know, but all I could say was, "I'm cold." I lost time again, and when my ears would let words in again, John was asking me to get on top of him. I got on top and put his penis inside of me, but I don't think I was moving my hips. His friend that came up from behind me and grabbed my waist, moving my body in the riding motion. I just closed my eyes, and tried to hear what they were saying to each other. For some reason I kept wondering if John was enjoying this. I think I asked him, and he said it was the most amazing experience of his life. I kept my eyes closed for what seemed like hours of riding him. Then, I figure the second he hit me, I just slumped over and all I wanted to do was sleep. John told his friend to lie me on my back and keep me covered up. He was mean in saying, "So she doesn't complain about being cold anymore." I guess I mustn't have stopped saying that since walking out to the car. His friend was telling him not to let me sleep 'cause I could die. I remember feeling scared, and thought I didn't care if I died, all I wanted to do was sleep. I was being told to rub John's body, while his friend was rubbing mine, under the blanket this time. The last time I had looked at the clock it as around 5 a.m., and I just couldn't stay awake any longer. In my sleep I heard his friend leave, and felt John comforting me in my sleep. The next day he told me even in my sleep I was mumbling weird things about being cold, and making sure everyone was have a good time. The feeling I had just from the ecstasy alone was a million little orgasms running through my body. I don't think John brought me to an orgasm even with all his effort to. The next day I woke up feeling burnt out. I threw my cloths on, my legs were still wobbly, and ran to the bathroom and chugged at least a liter of water. I still couldn't seem to talk. My jaw was sore, and I couldn't think of words to say to this 20-year-old, I am 18, with whom I'd just met and slept with all in the same day. To the best of my knowledge, his friend never penetrated me, and I hope that's true. John promised me he used a condom the whole time, and I hope that's true too. That whole night to me remains a mix of emotions. Erotic, frightening, scary, sexually arousing to think about, and some parts, still a mystery. I've used ecstasy many times since then, but only in rave scenes, with close friends there for support and safety. I suggest you always have a friend with you who you can trust and is staying sober.